Welcome to another episode of Rival and Queen. I'm one of your hosts, Ashley.
And I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Happy Thursday, Ashley.
Happy Thursday. It feels like summer. It's gorgeous and hot.
I know. We're recording in the morning, which we normally don't do. And so it's like beautiful out. I feel we've got the energy going.
We really do. Last week was kind of dreary and not so nice. And I find you can see me because we're also recording our video too, but I'm in full summer outfit. I'm just so excited about the nice weather.
You look very vibrant. You've got a bright highlighter yellow shirt on, dare I say?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is like sunshine.
You're inspiring me. I need to get some new summer clothes. Maybe I'll search today.
Good call. Why not?
I will say though, despite last week being a little dreary, we did have an epic adventure, Ashley.
Epic.
One that has changed my perspective on poor little Cape Breton Island that I always gave such a hard time about.
I know we've given it a hard time a few times, but that's because you're from Newfoundland, and that.
But now there's a lot of comparison.
Really?
Well, no, I think they're very different.
Right.
But for anyone listening, and I'm sorry, this is an unpopular opinion. I've already changed it. I used to just think Newfoundland was better than Cape Breton, but we went to the Highlands. We went to the Cabot Trail. More specifically, we went to these amazing domes.
So good.
True North destinations, and we stayed in them, and it was incredible. Like I couldn't get over the drive. Like the Cabot Trail was beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. I thought that was great.
It was so nice, and I'm with you on those domes. They were so dope and so perfect. It made everything so much better. But the scenery, and we went on a hike too, that was literally off the beaten path. I don't even know how I would describe getting there, but it was so beautiful, and the weather there was so actually angry. Nice. Yeah, we were a bit sour on the turn to get there.
The trek.
We didn't really know what was happening, and then it was just like a longer drive, and then like Sarah said, a trek before the hike. The car had to trek up the mountain.
Yeah,
a dirt road.
It was an adventure, a true adventure, and we were on a casual hiking mode.
Yeah, but I'm really happy we did it. It was awesome.
It was so worth it. We'll share some photos. The other thing that I just have to share. So we stayed at True North destinations, which are these like domes, like cliffside overlooking the ocean. It's beautiful. But the coolest thing about them is the acoustics in there are so hilarious. And so if you were on one side of the dome, you could like whisper and someone on the other side would hear it perfectly. And my favorite memory, Ash, was when I was lying in bed and your husband, Jeff, was on a bit of a tear and came in the middle of the night. I mean, I went to bed early.
It was like midnight, but the middle of the night.
Okay,
whatever.
A little later than midnight, Ashley. I mean, this was also after his 45-minute shower in the middle of the night.
No, this was before the shower, I think.
No.
Oh, God.
Because you were in the shower when he opened his second bag of chips and he was munching them in the corner of the dome. But the way the acoustics were, it sounded like he was right next to my ear. And it was amazing. I was dying laughing.
And I was in the bathroom and I think I was doing, putting my creams and stuff on. And I could hear him over because the top of the kitchen and the bathroom, though side by side, the tent's so high, there's no ceiling really on the bathroom. Everything's open. And I could hear him. And Sarah and anyone that knows me well, the sound of people chewing and eating drives me crazy. I don't know what it's called, but apparently it's a real thing. And I could hear him and it felt like he was. So I'm glad you experienced that really annoying sound because
but I wasn't annoyed. I thought it was funny. I was like waking up dying laughing. But I was more so laughing because I was like, Ashley's going to be so pissed about this. So if anyone knows what the sound is when chewing annoys you, or if there is like a name on this acoustic thing, because it's also at the Pantheon in Rome. When you go there, you can like whisper on one side and someone hears on the other side. If anyone knows about these things, please tell us. Yeah. And also you should go
there. Yeah, go there and see for yourself.
Totally. Ashley, today we've got a very special guest who loves Cape Breton.
Who currently lives in Cape Breton, Inverness specifically.
Yes, and when we recorded this, he was living there. We don't know. Alex, if you're still living there, let us know.
Well, I thought I drove on the way home. We went through Inverness to go by Cabot and see the beautiful beach in Inverness. And I saw this massive mountain of and there's a bunch of homes, and I was going to write Alex and ask if one was his because I think he looks down on Cabot and on the Inverness beach. So what a spot. It was such a delight talking to him. And much of a change of scenery, Sarah, from where he usually is.
Totally, from Las Vegas to Inverness, Cape Breton. So today we're diving into the world of poker with Alex Livingston. He's a Halifax native, but as we're saying, loves Cape Breton. He does split his time. We talked about this in the episode between Cape Breton Nova Scotia and Las Vegas. And last year, Alex placed third in the World Series of Poker main event, which was like a huge deal.
Yes. He
So we
won
thought
a lot of money.
yeah, we thought who better to teach us about the world of poker than him? And so we got Alex on really just to learn more about his life and lifestyle because it's something we know nothing about and it's fascinating. And he really shared with us his journey into becoming a professional poker player and really the experience of the main event and placing third. And of course, he's got lots of very entertaining stories. And then best of all, he gives us some tips and Ashley and I spend a lot of the episode trying to hustle him out of money or committing to bets that we think he'll never win.
Yeah, I have a feeling it won't go in our favor, Sarah.
I do not think so.
No, it's very interesting to hear Alex's story because I always wonder, how do you get there with any career, any path someone takes? And his is very interesting in how he just was always interested in being that kind of analytical thinker and loved chess and loved playing cards. And he obviously figured out how to master it. So it's very interesting.
Oh my God. And it's nice to also hear like the lifestyle of someone who lives in Vegas, like not just showing up on the strip.
Yeah, as a tourist. Go to the Grand Canyon and hit the clubs. Yeah. and he starts work so late, obviously you can imagine, and pretty late into the night. So it's very interesting. But the coolest thing I found, Sarah, was how
Tell us.
he talked about being physically fit and taking care of himself was such a huge part of being, well, for him, for being a poker player. And I found that very outside of what I would have thought, not thinking that they sit there because I mean, we sit at desks too, but it's just, I didn't think about it like that.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, from the conversation with Alex, I think he's taking his physical stamina a little more seriously than I am. Anyways.
I think he talked about even doing yoga and all those things just to ensure that he can sit there and be present and
Stay sharp.
flexible and sharp. Yeah.
Flexible?
Cool. Well, I mean, because your hips get sore from sitting down a lot.
I don't think he talked about this. I mean, if he, I believe you. We should ask him.
There was something about being able to sit for a long time in yoga.
All right.
You know what I'm saying.
I've never gambled in a casino, Ash. Have you?
You haven't? Oh, I have. I have in Vegas. I've been to Vegas a few times.
Is the casino in Halifax open right now?
Oh, I don't think so. You've never even have you been in that casino? Oh, Sarah,
I don't remember.
Let's get really glammed up and go for casino night.
I've got $100 in chips just sitting over there. We can just take them.
Let's do it. Put them all in red or all in black.
Maybe we should get Alex to come with us.
Oh my God. Yeah, make our money last. No, I have gambled a few times, and I actually, when I've been to Turks and Caicos a few times, and my friend and I actually went there very intoxicated one night, and we had a ball. I think I won maybe $70, and I thought that American, so I thought that was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Slot machines though, Sarah, slot machines.
The only gambling I've ever done is on horses, and I won €70 and I was very happy. I was like,
is our number.
I was like, I understand how this is addictive. I want to win more.
I think once my mom and I stayed at the Halifax hotel there with the casino, and we just decided one night, let's go down and play. And I think I won a couple $100 or like 150, and I bought a new pair of Prada sunglasses. I can remember specifically.
Girl,
I'm pocketing this.
We're going to have to get some lessons from Alex. As you'll hear in the show, it's not his favorite thing to do.
No.
We'll work it into the next bet we have with him.
Absolutely.
All right, Ash, shall we dive in?
Let's do it. we want to welcome Alex Livingston to the Ravon Queen podcast. I almost said Ian because our friend's name is Ian Livingston and it just like went in my brain. But Alex, we're so excited. You just jumped into the video call and showed us your beautiful background, which you are now in Cape Breton, but you're usually in Las Vegas. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I basically split my time pretty evenly at this point. It used to be more like 80% Vegas, 20% Halifax. And then every summer I'd come back to Halifax and enjoy it more and more and discover more of Nova Scotia. And so like the last couple of years, it's been closer to 50-50. Well, probably still a little bit more Vegas than Halifax, but normally I'm here in the summer months and a lot of the fall. But with COVID and everything, I just decided to come back to Nova Scotia right when things started getting bad because I actually don't have healthcare in the US. I forgot to there's this like period of time where you have to pay for health insurance in the States. They call it open enrollment. And if you miss that window, then you just don't get health insurance for the rest of the time you're there. So that was one reason I wanted to come back to Nova Scotia. I feel like the healthcare system here is a little bit more equitable. And I just I knew I was going to be here anyway in the summer, and I didn't want to have any issues like crossing the border if I stayed there longer. So I'm up in Cape Breton now, where I bought a rental house a few years ago, and not a lot of people renting rental houses right now. So I'm just living up here.
Ashley and I are renting places. So if you need renters.
But not a lot of people coming to play golf courses that aren't open. And that's like the majority of my rental business is normally people coming and playing Cabot, which is a 5-minute drive from my place, and Cabot's not open. So the house is available, which like in a way it's nice because I don't normally get to, it never feels like a house to me normally in a way. Like it feels like a place I get away to a few times a summer, but it's always like, coordinating, making sure the house cleaner comes in to turn it over for the guests who are arriving after me. And it just feels more like a short-term thing. Whereas I've been here for a few months now, it's kind of turned into my house and I've settled into it. It's been nice.
You're gonna have a hard time to leave.
I know, for sure. Yeah. Beautiful.
Such a different view and scene than the strip in Vegas.
Oh yeah. Too. I mean, that's so like I guess I moved to Vegas like 6 years ago now almost. And they're just such different worlds, like going back and forth between Vegas and Nova Scotia, everything, like the people, the culture, everything. Vegas is a very fake materialistic place. And, it does have like a lot of advantages.
I was just going to ask, what do you love about Vegas?
So that's the funny thing. Like it does actually have a lot of advantages. Like I like to golf and there's golf all year round there. The weather's amazing. There's actually really good outdoor activities. So like Free Solo, that movie, Alex Honnold, he lives in Vegas and he does like climbing all the time, half hour outside of Vegas. There's even a forest, like people, obviously it's desert, but it's an hour drive to this beautiful forest where they have a ski hill in the winter and like great hiking in the summer.
Oh my God.
In terms of outdoor stuff, Vegas is actually awesome. Food is incredible there. It's a little more expensive than here, but like you have like all sorts of really good food open late. Obviously like entertainment is good. Like there's all these Cirque du Soleil shows and all that kind of thing. But in terms of the culture and the people, I way prefer Nova Scotia for sure.
Is it hard to even meet other people there, or is everyone, because you said everyone's kind of phony and fake, like is everyone just so in their own? Well, it's true.
There's definitely a fair amount of people in Vegas that come from other places. So like there's all like the transplants, and I've met most of my social circle there. A lot of it is poker players, so they come from all over for sure. But yeah, it's just like even just the going out scene there, like it's a lot more club oriented and like who do you know, how much money are you dropping kind of thing. It's definitely a different world. But like spending 6 years there, it also, in a way, it becomes like a regular city. Like, I find little craft beer bars, and I find, all the places I like to hike and play golf, and the little like hole in the wall restaurants that are awesome, and then it kind of becomes a regular city. But at the same time, when I'm playing poker or when I'm down on the strip, like you're just surrounded by the tourists and like the hustle and bustle and the lights and all that. There's slot machines in the airport. I mean, it's It's just different. It's just a different place.
You get people like Ashley and I flying in being ridiculous, and you're there working.
Adult Disney World.
I love that. Well, we're so stoked to have you on today to learn more. Basically, as you mentioned, you are a professional poker player. We know nothing about this. Sounds like a crazy career to us. We want to know more. How did you start playing cards? Poker.
Yeah, well, I'll start with cards, I guess, because I started playing bridge, which is kind of like, I'm like a generation too young for that. Like in our parents' generation.
My nan.
Like that is, like we're not the bridge generation, but I grew up, my aunt and uncle and my mom all really loved bridge, and they taught me I started when I was 6 years old. So, and I was playing chess when I was 4. So I was always into like strategy games, anything with analytical thinking, and then bridge, which is this awesome game that definitely similar to poker has a luck element and a skill element. You can just get really lucky in bridge and you can just get dealt a bunch of good hands and it's kind of easy to win, but there's also a lot of finesse required, and it's like how well you do with the marginal hands that kind of like determines a good bridge player and a bad bridge player. Anyone's going to have trouble with a really bad hand. Anyone's going to probably be able to play a really big hand easily, but how do you do in the middle? So I think bridge was definitely kind of this foundation, and chess as well. I played chess competitively up until I was basically 18. There's no money in chess.
Thank you for answering that question. That's good, actually.
No money in chess. Like, unless you're like a top maybe 10, 15 chess player in the world, you're scraping by. You're relying on like coaching students and like all this other stuff. But with poker, which I got into when I was about 18, you can make real money. And I don't know, I got into it by watching it on TV. So I don't know if you guys ever watched poker on TV. Like,
I have.
Yeah, not by choice, but it's been
exactly not
only
by
because
choice.
I don't know how to play. I don't know how to even play chess. I'm terrible.
Did you know who Phil Ivey is?
Do we know what?
Like, you know the name Phil Ivey?
If I saw a picture, I feel like, because they're such characters, I feel like maybe.
Black guy, and he's probably now in his 40s, but when I started watching him, he would have been in early 30s, I think, or late 20s even. And he was wearing.
I'm gonna be honest.
He's pretty iconic looking. Like if you saw a picture, you might say, "Oh yeah, I've seen that dude." So he was wearing a Steve Francis jersey, like in the 2003 World Series of Poker. I remember this well. And I was 16, and this was when I think the NHL lockout was happening. So they started televising poker a lot more. And he was just like really good at poker, and he was known as being one of the best, and he was just really fun to watch. And so he was kind of my first poker hero. I was like, well, I want to be like this guy. And, I was playing, actually funny story. I was at boarding school the last 2 years of high school, and I almost got kicked out of school for gambling. So I've kind of been a natural gambler my whole life. Like when I was 12 years old, I organized a Super Bowl like bookie operation.
Amazing. This is so great.
All like kids in like 6th or 7th grade, whatever. And I did that. And then I did that all through high school too. And then in high school, I was betting on everything. So I was betting on ping pong, but a lot of poker too. I was playing poker with like a few guys in the dorm. And then the head of the dorm there was this super awesome old guy named Walt. But he got really upset one time, and because he'd given me these like subtle warnings. And then one time he said, "Alex, if we catch you with a deck of cards again, we're going to expel you." I'm pretty sure he said like, it was something like really drastic. Like, and it wasn't just like, I wasn't even allowed to play cards because he knew I had been gambling with cards. So like I had been watching Phil Ivey. I'd picked up on the rules of poker, and I'd found other guys in the dorm, and we were gambling and stuff. But I definitely wasn't like good at poker yet. Like that came later. And even when I first started depositing money online when I turned 18, it took a while to become a winning player. I always liked the game, but I didn't have the discipline probably to begin.
What kind of poker do you play? Because there's a ton of different styles, right?
There's a lot. I like to play a lot of them. So some, like the most common style is Texas Hold'em. So yes, when you see poker on TV, 98% of the time it's Texas Hold'em. And that's where you get. So do you know the rules of Texas Hold'em?
I do, because I played in a charity event very poorly. I won no money for anyone.
Actually, do you know them?
No, I've played, but no, I don't remember anything. I
So, like,
forget every card game after I played. I'm that annoying person.
so the basic premise is everyone gets 2 cards, and then there's a round of betting. So you're just betting based on the 2 cards you have. And then 3 cards come down in the middle of the table, and those are called community cards. So everyone can use those. And then there's another round of betting, then a 4th community card, another round of betting, and then a 5th community card, another round of betting. And at the end, you're taking the 2 cards in your hand and the 5 cards on the board, and you're making the best possible 5-card hand. So you might use 1 from your hand, or you might use 2 from your hand. Or if your hand sucks, you use 0 from your hand and you play the board, but then you can't. At the best you can do there is split the pot, because if anyone else has a piece. So that's like that was what I played for most of my poker career, like at the beginning. But then I got into Pot Limit Omaha, PLO. So it's similar, but you get 4 cards in your hand instead of 2, and you use 2 from your hand and 3 from the board.
Okay.
Now I play all like the old people games too, like Stud and like these like old games that have gone out of fashion. But I mean, I like poker. Like I find it very fascinating. So I like to play all the different styles, all the different types of games.
And are some easier than others, do you find? Or they're all just as challenging?
Yeah, I mean, some are more intuitive, I guess. And then I guess in terms of easier, it depends how you define it, because like now so many people play Texas Hold'em that if you play online or live, even for like reasonable stakes, like reasonable amounts of money, it's not easy in the sense that it's easy to make money, because it's so saturated with people who are knowledgeable on the game. Whereas if you choose one of these more archaic, like weirder styles of the game, there's not as many people who are really good at it. So the game might actually be more complicated, but it might be easier to make money.
Interesting. The aspects you think of when this is actually your career. You're like, yes, I need to make money.
Yeah. Bottom line, you have to make money.
So how did you go from, so how did you even get into poker as a career? Because it's not like standard. Like if you asked Ashley or I, this was not on our radar, something to do for life.
Right. And I don't think, it might not have been on my radar like from the beginning as, wow, this is going to actually be a career. But it was, so I think what happened was must have been the summer between first and second year of university. I didn't want to get a summer job. I actually applied for a few jobs.
Where did you go to university?
I actually went to school in the States. I went to Tufts in Boston.
Okay. All right.
So I actually applied. I think I actually applied to work as a dealer at the casino, but they wouldn't take me because I wasn't there for long enough. I was like, just for a summer job, right? And then I also applied to a call center, and they didn't hire me. I'm pretty sure I'm qualified.
Very different.
You know, my mom was like, well, you know, you can stay with us, but I'm not giving you any money. Like you have to get a job for the summer, which is reasonable. I'm 19 at this point. And so I just started going to the casino. I had a little bit of money to my name, not much, but I started going to casino and I played the smallest games they had. And I actually was doing pretty well at it. And I had still been struggling online, but I was finding that like playing in the casino, you're playing against a lot worse players and they're making a lot of mistakes. And I'd read some poker books. So I'd been like kind of like honing my skills that way. And I remember at one point I might have had $500 to my name or something. And I went to the casino 3 days in a row playing this game 2-4 limit, which was the smallest game they played. People would buy in for like $60 or something. And I made $1,000 in 3 days playing that 2-4 limit game, which was like all the money in the world to me at the time. So that was awesome. And then like, I managed that money pretty well. And I think I made like $5,000 that summer, and it was enough to keep me afloat. And then I went back to university, and my second year there, I was kind of distracted by poker, to be honest. I was like watching poker videos, and I was like studying and talking to other poker players and trying to get better at playing online, and just wasn't super focused academically. and then didn't do great that year. And my mom actually suggested, she's like, well, you don't seem like this is like a waste of time and money. You don't seem like you're focused on school, which is all very true.
Yeah.
Yes, I take a year off. So I took a year off, and that's where I took it to the next level. That's where I, actually learned to win online and like was getting good about managing my money and like started to build a real bankroll.
Crazy. So just before we dive into the next question, Alex, just so you know, I think if you're tapping the table, we can hear that, or the mic's picking it up. It's all good.
I could have been tapping the table.
Yeah. I'm just telling you so that
It's a very common thing when we talk to people. They just start like playing with something on their all good.
It's all good.
We'll edit that out.
Will you be able to?
Oh my God.
We'll edit out the conversation about it.
We'll do as much of both as possible. We won't do it. Mark,
someone will do it for
Mark,
us.
we love you. So you took that year off from university. Your mom sounds awesome, first of all, to have that kind of
supportive.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do you go from playing online to actually tell us about the world of poker?
And I'm just picturing as well, Alex, like all this money coming in, like, did you kind of panic at first and not know?
Well, it's not always coming in. It's definitely going out sometimes. And like,
but that's what I mean. Like how to manage it. You just said that must be the hardest part, how to hold on and how to play.
Yeah, there were very stressful times. I mean, there were times where I had to borrow money, like in the early stages, especially. There were definitely times when like money got tight, and then there were times where I had a lot of money and I didn't know what to do with it, and I spent it all on stupid stuff. Like, so there was all of that was definitely a thing. I think, it's just like anything else. Like as you get older, you get a little bit better with money, ideally.
Do you find did you find there was like a switch in your mentality at some point where you were like, I need to figure out how to manage this? Like, this is what I'm going to do?
I'd say probably happened gradually, but I think you start to see what the most successful people in your industry are doing. And then if you're serious about wanting to be one of the best, you probably emulate that to some extent, right? I think that happens in every industry. So, people in poker like that were at the top were always really serious about fitness and study. Yeah, I think fitness is actually super important because it's all about like activating, the body and the mind are so connected. And I think it's all about activating your mind to perform at the highest possible level.
Interesting.
So I think like working out and keeping the body sharp keeps the mind sharp. And I think that's something, you look at something like golf, which is not a super athletic sport in terms of like, you look at John Daly, who is this really big guy who was successful at golf in like the 90s. But then when Tiger came along, he started lifting weights and eating healthy, and he just ushered in this generation of golfers who were starting to take physical training more seriously. And of course, golf is a sport much different from poker. But now I'm, even as like someone who still plays a little bit of chess, I'm reading about chess players taking physical fitness a lot more seriously, because like the mind is just so connected to the body, I think.
Yoga, I feel like would be really good for that too.
Yoga would probably be good. I haven't done a ton of yoga.
Now's the time to
really
try it.
Yoga, like, for a couple of reasons, like for the mental stuff, but also, when you're playing poker a lot, you're sitting in a computer or you're sitting at a poker table in a casino, just sitting, and it's not good for the back. So,
how long are you like when you're in a tournament or something? Like, how long are you playing?
So tournament days, so the way tournaments work, everyone puts up the same amount of money to buy in, and then you play until you get knocked out. So, and they usually are not just 1 day tournaments. They're usually like 2 day or 3 day or 4 day. So if I were to enter a tournament and start on time, you usually have the option to also start, it's called late registration. So you can jump in later in the day. But if I were to play a tournament and start on time and survive until the end of the day, that would usually be about a 12-hour day.
Wow.
And
so you need to be mentally sharp for 12 hours.
How do you eat or go to the washroom?
Yeah, my record is 37 hours. I played a 37-hour session.
Wow.
What?
I was a lot younger. I've played probably 5 sessions over, at least 5, maybe 10 sessions over 24 hours.
How do you not go like brain dead?
Yeah.
Red Bull, like it's not healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of poker players have taken Adderall. I'm not into that, but I think there's bad side effects there. But like that's a thing. That's a thing that poker players. I mean, really, it's a performance enhancing drug for poker.
Totally. Wow. I've never thought of this from this kind of like physical training perspective. But yeah, as you're saying this, of course, you'd have to be in good health to freaking sit there and be mentally sharp for 37 hours.
Yeah,
Like mental stamina.
I don't recommend 37-hour sessions. I was a lot younger when I did that. But definitely 12-hour days are common.
Okay. Crazy. So what does your lifestyle look like? Like, what is a day in your life? Is it just tournaments you're playing in, or are you playing it like regularly online?
Yeah, so basically there's 2 types of poker. There's tournaments and then there's cash games. So cash games are very different from tournaments in the sense that you can just jump in and jump out whenever you want. A tournament, you're kind of stuck there until you get eliminated. You know, they have breaks every couple hours, but
So you can go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Go back and get some food, whatever.
Mhm.
But in a cash game, like you can just sit down, play for an hour or 2, you know, win some money or lose some money or whatever, feel like you're bored and then just leave. So I actually mostly play cash games. It just ends up being a different type of style of poker. It tends to attract a lot more action players, you know, players who just want to have fun and play some cards and shoot the shit. And it tends to be a little bit more social than tournaments. So like a typical day in Vegas, I might wake up, play golf or tennis or work out, ideally do one of those 3 in the morning, and then go into the casino maybe around 4 p.m. and play poker until midnight or 1 a.m. And, you know, if the game's really good, I'm not going to come home at 1 a.m. I'm going to keep playing until, you know, if there's a player in the table or a couple of players at the table who are really bad at the game and have a lot of money, you want to stick around with them, right? So a lot of it is kind of like making sure you're in the right place at the right time.
Totally.
Sounds like your day just kind of evolves. Once you walk into that casino, you never know
There's a lot
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you have any superstitions? Like, do you sit in the same seats or do you wear the same outfits or anything?
No.
No? Okay.
You know, like sometimes in like a tournament, if I'm doing really well, I might wear the same sweater a few days in a row or something. But other than that, no.
I feel like it's
favorite
probably
casinos,
better.
or do you just go to different casinos every time?
Mostly, there's a couple casinos in Vegas that will just have the bigger games that are better. So it's the Aria and the Wynn mostly.
Oh, beautiful hotels.
The wind's so nice.
The Wynn is. So were you 2 in Vegas together?
Separately.
Thank God.
Would have been
We'd
bad.
have some good stories.
Yeah.
Nowhere we go together is an easy
I've
exit.
been 3 times and 2 were on bachelorette parties. So
Okay. What are each of your best Vegas stories or interesting Vegas memories?
oh gosh. One of mine was just, as one does on a bachelorette party, we met a group of well-to-do gentlemen, like a big group. I think there were 40 of them, and we ended up we made them get us a party bus and just take us up and down the strip and take us to all these places, and
Amazing.
hung out in their beautiful penthouse that they had. So that was great. I saw Shania Twain before there, which was awesome. Her concert.
Yeah.
Die for Shania.
And like, just as you said, Alex, so many good restaurants and so much, I could just eat my way, but you're usually partying, so you don't want to eat all the time. Like,
True.
there's different types of trips to Vegas, I feel
There
like.
are. If you're only in Vegas for a few days, like you don't really get the full experience. I mean, you get the full party experience, but that's the thing. Like, it's hard to do everything in 3 days, so you're probably just going to party because that's probably the purpose of the trip. But if you go for like a week, then you can, unless you're a really hardcore partier and you're partying for a week straight, then you can do other stuff.
Yeah, would be nice to do the Grand Canyon, maybe even drive to like another state or something and kind of do the more touristy thing.
Utah is beautiful too, and that's like an hour and a half from Vegas. Yeah.
Maybe we could do both, Sarah. We could do the touristy, lovely things for the first day or 2, and then do like a day or 2 of pool parties and stuff.
Are you guys are you planning a trip when COVID's over?
We might have to.
All of our trips are canceled right now, so yes.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
I feel like I have so many trip refunds right now, so I'll have money to go do whatever, Ash.
But I did see an interview. I think it was the COO of, I think it was Caesar's Palace, but they're full on getting ready to roll back out and open the casinos. And
they're opening up. I mean, the mayor of Vegas seems crazy. Like, did you see the interview on TV?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did. She's like, wants everything opened.
Yeah, she wants to basically use Vegas as like a test city to see what happens if you just open everything. She's like, yeah, we'll offer up our residents as like rats, basically as like fodder for this experiment.
That's terrible. I feel like that's a terrible place to do it because it's
really
so.
But the thing is, they're also so reliant on tourism that they're like their industry is just getting completely ransacked. So I do understand I understand the economic interest, but like the way she's going about it seems pretty crazy. She just wants to go full throttle, open everything up.
A little risky.
Crazy.
There's a fly.
All right.
I don't know where that came from.
So you can basically play anywhere in the world. Where are some of your favorite places that you've played poker, Alex?
So I lived in Amsterdam for 3 months, and then I lived in Barcelona for 3 months, actually with Colin, our mutual friend. Yeah, and Australia is really great. I was just there in January. I played in Melbourne, and poker-wise, it wasn't a great trip, but that city is just phenomenal.
So cool.
And a beautiful casino too. It's right on the water, and the city's super walkable. The weather's really nice. We went to see Roger Federer play tennis, which was awesome. And like the brunch scene there. I don't know if you two are brunch people, but
we love brunch.
Okay, Halifax needs more brunch places that are open on weekdays.
Ooh,
yes.
Like Coastal Cafe is great, but like somewhere like Edna is amazing, but they're only open on the weekends.
We love the Black Sheep. That is the best. They have it every day.
That's really good. That's a
I
good
think Almanac's open every day too.
Almanac, yeah, they might have weird hours like some of the days. I'm not sure. I live really close to Almanac right now when I'm in Halifax, actually.
Oh, that's where I live. I used to live right by there too.
Oh yeah. I'm in that new building, the Bloom.
Oh,
yes.
It's so nice in there.
Sarah's recently been there.
Oh yeah.
No, her friend moved there. It's a long story. That's another story. That's so cool. But I can understand you appreciating the good brunch spots because maybe you're out late and you want to kind of enjoy a good brunch the next day. Maybe you're celebrating.
I've always been big on brunch. I mean, whether or not it's a boozy brunch. And the coffee in Melbourne is phenomenal.
I've heard that the Australians are like obsessed with coffee and they kill it.
They kill it.
Why has no one brought us Australian coffee, Sarah? We have friends that are from Australia. I don't know.
We have to go there, Ashley.
You have to go there. Oh, and when you go to Australia, you have to go to New Zealand. So I didn't play any poker in New Zealand, but I went there for 3 weeks after. I was in Australia basically just for poker. And then my brother flew in and met me. And me, him, and 2 other poker friends, actually 4 other poker friends, that ended up went to New Zealand and rented a house there for 10 days and then like did some driving around. It was amazing. Beautiful.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Whenever you go to a new city or you're traveling, do you check out a casino every time you go?
That's a good question. So typically, yes, I do want to at least check it out if there is a casino. I'll go on poker trips and then I'll also go on pleasure trips, I guess. And I try to at least see some of the city when I go on a poker trip. Because some people will go on a poker trip and they'll just like lock themselves in the casino the entire time and not see anything. I feel like that's a bit of a waste unless it's a city I've already been to a bunch. But then when I'm on a pleasure trip, yeah, like if there's a casino nearby, I'm probably going to check it out. But yeah, I've been some places that don't have casinos, like Iceland or maybe there was a casino in Croatia. I don't know. That was one of the coolest places I've been. But if there was, I didn't see it. Yeah. But like for instance, Barcelona, the first time I was there, it wasn't for poker. I was just kind of like doing one of those Euro trip things. And I'd been with a friend for most of the trip. And then he went back early and I went to Barcelona by myself. And I knew there was a casino there, but that wasn't the reason I was going. But like one of the nights I was there, I walked from my hotel all the way along the beach, and it's a beautiful walk from like kind of downtown Barcelona to the casino. You can walk it all along the beach, and that was really cool. Like I liked the casino. It was right outside, and when I ended up living there, it was cool because if you were like, you know, sometimes when you're in a poker hand or you're playing poker, we call it going on tilt. Like you get frustrated and like nothing's going right and you're getting unlucky or you're playing bad and it's just kind of like boiling up and like it's just very frustrating. So it was nice to have the beach right there. Like I could just walk around, stroll on the beach, like take like 15 minutes away from the table, because in a cash game you can get up and come right back. I would just go for a walk and there would be like people out like clubbing and in the bars, and it'd be like a whole scene, and it'd be just like kind of take my mind off poker for a minute.
Barcelona's a beautiful city. I've been there. It's awesome.
It is, yeah.
I did not see the casino, but maybe next time. I don't know how to play anything, so.
Like if you obviously went to the beach.
Yes.
And if you walk towards kind of the end of the beach from La Rambla, which is that big like touristy street, there's like a bunch of clubs like Opium and
I went there.
Yeah, you went to Opium. Opium is like a 2-minute walk from the beach.
Yeah.
Or from the casino, sorry.
Okay. Maybe now there's like one big hotel tower to the right of the beach. Okay.
The hotel that's connected to the casino.
Oh, Sarah, there's so many trips and places we need to go.
We'll just start booking them around casinos. This will be the next thing.
Yeah.
So Alex, this was a very big year for you.
Yeah, it was. It was a really big year.
You placed third.
2019, yeah.
At the World Series of Poker. That's crazy. Was this kind of like your highest ranking in?
Oh yeah. I mean, this was like from both the perspective of like, I don't know, achieving recognition in a significant tournament in the field. Yes, it was by far the biggest, and the money amount was by far the biggest I've ever won. And I guess the hype, like the World Series of Poker main event has a different level of hype and kind of like mainstream recognition than any other tournament.
Totally.
So, you know, it was on TV and people were.
How much did you win? If it was on TV, obviously people know. Can you tell us?
The listed amount was $4 million US, but I didn't.
What?
I had investors, and then there's also taxes.
Taxes, right? We love those.
Taxes and investments. So I didn't put up, because it was $10,000 to enter. So I put up, you know, a good portion of that, but I didn't put up all of that. So some of it came from investors, and then, so that's a thing that happens a lot in poker, where, you know, someone's playing a tournament. Let's say someone wants to play a tournament that's $1,000, and they only want to put up $600. They'll say, does anyone want the other 40%? And then, you know, you network within your friends in the poker community. I might say, yeah, like I'll take 20%, I'll say. So 20% of 1,000 is 200. So I'll put up the 200. Or if they're a really good player, they can say, well, I'm actually going to charge you like 240 for that. Because
really? Okay.
There's like an expectation that they're going to have this like return on investment that makes it worth it for me to pay what we call like a markup. So you pay premium to get a piece of their action. And then if they go and play this tournament and they don't make any money, you know, which happens a lot of the time in tournaments, you just bust out, you don't make any money. That happens like at least 80% of the time. Then that's fine. Like my $240 is gone. But let's say they turn their $1,000 into $3,000, then I get my 20% of profits on that. So
okay.
I had some investors, so like some people in Halifax and some family and stuff like that got percentages of my main event. And there was actually a story that was in the Chronicle Herald where one of my friends got married recently in New Brunswick, and the wedding gift I gave to him and his wife was 1%. We call it a free roll, where they don't have to put up the money. So I'm just giving them 1% of anything I make in the main event. So then I got 4 million. So they got 40,000 US, which got so.
That's still such a great friend.
Funny thing is that like when I was giving them that gift, this was obviously before the tournament happened.
And they obviously had no idea that this was going to happen.
It might not have happened. I said to my friend, well, I was like, I kind of feel weird giving you guys, like, I know you're cool with it because he's another gambler. I was like, are you sure your wife is going to be cool with this? Because this could basically just be a gift of nothing if I don't make any money in this tournament.
It's your love.
Like, yeah, this is like.
Bring them a candle.
But yeah, it worked out all right. So.
Yeah. That is freaking awesome. So like you said, this kind of put you, I guess, on the map for in the poker world. How, like, what does this mean in terms of your career?
So the thing is, like, it's kind of funny because there is a lot of luck that goes into any one tournament, and the luck comes in a lot of different ways. So for instance, part of being lucky is just having weaker players at your table for that particular day, because you get assigned to a table for the day, and then the next day you put your chips in a bag and they redraw and you get a different table. So I definitely I feel like on average I will get to your question, but I feel like I definitely got a lot of luck along the way, like whether it was from table draws or like winning hands at the right moments. And then on day 7, which was getting really deep in the tournament, I got really lucky in 2 big hands. So,
and do you have a feeling when you're getting that lucky draw of who's at your table that you're feeling good? You know that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely always want to see like weaker players at the table, and that's all good. But I guess my point is that it is a big thing for my career, especially in terms of like recognition to my family and to non-poker players. I don't think that I don't look at it as like singularly something that validates my career, because I've always been more of a cash game player. I've done well in cash games over the years, but that's not something that's tracked. That's not like, you don't get any recognition outside of like people who I've played cash games with would recognize that I've done well. But so like there's a lot of like mainstream, both within poker world and outside of the poker world, there's like a lot of mainstream credibility that comes along with a run like this. But I don't look at it as like changing, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of that idea that you're probably only as good as your last hand or your last game.
I have other goals within poker that are like cash game oriented, for instance, or like getting better at playing online poker or learning other types of poker. So it's more of just like a visible badge of honor, I guess.
Sometimes though, it's like helpful if your family and friends are like, oh, they're doing something you like good.
Yeah, and I think my family understood poker pretty well, and I've been doing it for long enough that like they understood I was good at it. But it's still like it's very externally validating to people who are less familiar with the poker world or don't know like the ins and outs of cash games. That kind of thing.
Do your friends and family like playing poker with you, or do they hate playing because they'll likely lose?
Like playing poker with them. Like I'll play poker with my friends. Like I have a lot of poker friends who we compete against each other all the time, and I enjoy that. I like those battles. But in terms of just like playing poker with like family or like friends that don't really play poker and they just want to play like a friendly $5 game, like I don't really want to do that, because like I will do it sometimes, but it's not as fun for me since I'm playing so much poker anyway. It's like when I'm like relaxing with my family or my friends.
The job.
I want to just be doing something else. Like I want to be playing golf, or I want to be like playing another card game, or like
playing bridge.
Playing bridge, playing code names, board games.
What is your favorite non-strategic card game? Do you have
Stop, one? Ashley. I know what she's going for here.
Just maybe he's on our page, Sarah.
What's yours?
Well, it's not really like, it's a child's game essentially, but we like to play Skip.
Wait, is that the one where you have to slap the table really hard or quickly?
No.
I think that's Snap. Skip-Bo has become our COVID game. And it's
in the world of like phase 10 and those kind of cards, if you know.
There's no strategy. There's one strategy.
He's never heard of it. I love it.
We'll have to teach you, Alex. What?
All right. We'll do a Skip-Bo lesson for a poker lesson. We'll do
training. We'd really entertain you, because it's more about the chirp. We like to kind of give everyone a hard time when we play with them. So
yeah.
I'm very nice to people when they start.
Wait, you've been playing Skip-Bo during COVID?
No, we haven't been together, but we've each been independently playing.
Got it.
Yeah, and I think I'm up on Jeff right now, who's my husband. So I'm loving it.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been also
like
playing
to lose.
You don't like to lose.
Most people don't.
No.
You would expect to be cool with losing I don't know. I found that most people just secretly really, really hate losing. Even like people that seem really chill and like they don't care about most things in life. They don't like to lose in card games, especially.
I hate losing. I like throw the card deck across the kitchen. Like, not mad, but I actually found a 4, Sarah, under my mat the other day in the kitchen.
Amazing. Well, I'm
Or
still
Jeff.
keeping my win from the last weekend.
Good.
I
Stay on
wiped.
top.
Yeah, I did kill you the last time we did play Skip-Bo, Ashley. So
Yeah.
anyways, we're ahead. Alex, one question I do have. So after you placed third in this tournament, you wrote this lovely like blog post that I read about kind of this whole experience. And really, it's almost, you know, you're thanking so many people throughout your life, and it's almost like a memoir. And it really seems like this was a huge milestone for you that you're very conscious of.
Yeah, I think when I wrote that, it was also much more fresh. So there were like the emotion of because it was very emotional. Like the whole thing, it was stressful. It was exciting. It was like, it definitely, I don't want to undersell how big a moment it was for me, especially at the time. So there was a lot of emotion involved, and yeah, I wrote the blog post I wrote. It was titled "This One's for My Dad," because my dad died when I was younger, but he had been kind of responsible for getting me into, I guess, learning math and reading and chess at a very young age before he died. And then I went on to thank all my friends and family and everyone who's been sort of supportive. And that was written pretty shortly after the tournament. So that was definitely, the emotion was very fresh at that point.
That's kind of nice though, to be able to be present enough in a moment like that to realize like, oh, this is something I want to pause and appreciate for a few minutes.
Yeah, It was, so right after the tournament was over, I went to Montana by myself. I rented a little cabin kind of by a lake, turned my phone off for 4 days, and I just chilled out. I did like interact with locals and stuff. Like I would go golfing and I'd talk to people, but I just didn't interact with like people in my regular life. Because I needed that reset. Because, you know, like the phone, like during the tournament, and I would keep it on airplane mode, but then I'd turn it on at the end of the night every day, and obviously it's just like blowing up, which is great, and I loved having that support. But I kind of needed like that refresh, and that's where I did a lot of the writing, and then I wrote the rest later back in Halifax.
So cool. That's actually like something I didn't even think of, is what do you do after like the stress and intensity of a tournament like that? How do you come back to life? Ooh.
Yeah, and it was actually a weird transition. Like I actually feel like I kind of struggled with it at the beginning, because it's kind of like this feeling of, at least like financially now, a lot of my goals had been like goals that I'd been like working like slowly towards were kind of like hit all at once, which is a great problem to have. And it's not a problem. It's just a great thing to have happen. But then it also makes you kind of lose some motivation. Like I didn't feel like I wasn't as hungry to go out and play poker every day, because I felt like I could kind of like sit back now. I didn't need it as much. And then when you lose that hunger to play poker, and that's been like such a big part of my life for the last 13 years, it's like, okay, well, what else am I going to do now? And I needed projects to keep me going. And I think it's still something I'm like trying to figure out. And I'm still playing a lot of poker, but I want to find like other productive ways to spend my time, whether it's writing, because I do like to write, or I don't know, start a business or something, come up with some other project.
Interesting.
When I don't have that going on, when I don't have like something meaningful that's motivating me, I'm not as happy, basically.
It must be a really interesting time for you to be in Cape Breton and be there and kind of have some time to decompress and think about all these things. So
yeah,
is that bringing you a lot of joy right now?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And so I've been here by myself for part of it, and my brother and his girlfriend came up with one of their friends for like a month, actually, in April, or maybe 3 weeks. So that's been nice. Yeah, I mean, it's a very peaceful setting. And we have nothing but time right now. So I really have no excuses to not like to sort of like, I should be starting to like figure out what projects I want to do, because, you know, we have so much time, and like, I do want to be productive. And actually one thing I want to do is write like a part 2 of that blog, where I talk more about, because that one was, like you said, it was kind of a memoir. It was, you know, it was thanking people in my life. But part 2 would be more about the tournament itself, which I think people find interesting.
Yeah.
It's just a little less fresh right now. So I have to access my memory is not that great, to be honest.
That's why it's good to journal those things.
Really. Sure.
while they're fresh.
Start putting some notes in like a notepad or something as they hit you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's like one of the things I guess I always learned about writing. You're supposed to just, when anything pops in your mind, you just write it out, and you just like get as much on paper at the beginning, and then you can turn it into something more constructive or constructed.
I love that. That's so cool. So, Alex, poker tips 101 for beginners like Ashley and I. You are the expert who would just cringe if you were ever had to play poker with us. What are your what?
I'm going to say sunglasses. Like, I feel like I'd have to put sunglasses on.
All right. So, yeah, beginner tips. I would say play tight. So don't play too many hands.
What does play tight mean?
Okay. So, first tip would be make sure you're like familiar with all the rules, obviously.
That would help.
That would help.
What's
so,
the...
Sarah knows the rules. Ashley, maybe not.
Definitely not.
Right.
So know the rules.
Learn the rules. Like figure out the structure of the game. Figure out a few of the basic terms. And then what playing tight means is, so there's something called a button. And it moves one seat. Let's say you're playing with 8 people at the table. You know the button? So every hand, it just moves one spot over to the left. And then to the left of the button, the 2 people in the seats, 1 to the left and 2 to the left of the button, they have to put in bets. So they have to put in fixed amounts of either chips or money, whatever you're playing with. And so those players are forced to put money in the pot. Everyone else has the option. So everyone else gets to look at their 2 cards and then decide if they want to put money in or not. So my first advice would be, when you look at those 2 cards and you have the option to put money in or not to put money in, don't put money in unless you have a good hand. So what constitutes a good hand? Pairs are good. So if you have like a 7 and another 7, that's really good. And the higher the pair, the better. So like 2-2 is good, but it's nothing like special. Ace-ace is incredible. That's the best possible hand. And then besides pairs, you want to have either an ace with a face card, or you want to have 2 cards that are both the same suit and connected. So like 9-8, where they're both spades, that's a good hand because you have the opportunity to make flushes where you get more spades, or straights, like if it comes 5, 6, 7. And the closer the cards are to each other, the higher the chance you make a straight. So you want to basically start with pairs, big aces, or hands that are suited and connected. And if you're playing too many other, like you don't want to play like King 4, because those cards are not close to each other.
Okay. All right. This is good. Ash, I think we're ready. I think like you and I think we know enough we could play some poker together, Ashley.
Should we get in an amateur online tournament, Sarah?
No, I don't. I think we should just start with each other.
Like $5.
You can play online for free too. You can play Clam on here, I call it.
All right. We're taking a leap from Skippo, maybe Crazy Eights, maybe we'll learn bridge. Then we're just taking over with the poker.
Says the girl who's never played before.
But if I learn, I'll want to be good, and I'll just.
That's true.
You said you don't like to lose, right? So here's the thing with poker. Even when you're a good poker player, there's a lot of losing. Like there's more winning than losing when you're a winning player, but you have to, like on any given day, you might lose a lot. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to lose, poker might not be your game.
We'll just play for fun, recreationally, for free.
Especially playing with money, and then you like you lose one day, and then you lose the next day. You just can get it can be very frustrating for everybody.
I'm the type of person too, Alex, that if I win like $75 in the slot machine, I'm walking away. Like I'm done. Like I'm not playing again.
I love that. Ash, we're gonna have to start playing. I'm stoked for us to.
I'll try.
Okay, perfect. Alex, what do you enjoy the most about poker?
I would definitely say it's the human element. So that's why I like playing live way more than online. And when I say human, it's everything from the social aspect to the psychological aspect, basically. I probably like the psychological human aspect of poker is my favorite. So that's trying to get inside people's heads, trying to figure out how they think, what they're thinking in any given moment, how the way they think as a regular human in their life, like try to like get in, like try to understand them as a person on a deeper level, and then figure out how that translates into how they're going to play poker.
Amazing.
And understanding their emotions.
There's so
In the
much.
moment, they're constantly changing, and being in tune with their emotions, and then trying to like adjust my strategy based on who they are, how they play poker, and like what their emotional level is at the time. And that's all like really fascinating to me.
There's so much strategic things happening that are you chatting to these people during, like, is that how you're getting to know them?
I do a lot.
You're thinking the entire time.
I do a lot of talking, and I think it is genuine. I do want to get to know people. I do really enjoy chatting with different types of people, especially people who are not pro poker players, because they tend to be more interesting. But at the same time, I'm definitely like accumulating information and storing it, and like just, you can tell a lot about how a guy's going to play, even just based on little things like how he stacks his chips. So like if someone has their chips like all really neatly organized,
Yeah.
they're probably a tighter player. They're probably more conservative because they're more organized. They're more disciplined. They're all, and if someone's got their chips all kind of like loosely scattered, well, they're probably a little more unpredictable, and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, I also will just like look at somebody and form an initial stereotype of how I think they're going to play poker, and then like change it based off of that. So like
So
age is
cool.
important. I'm not going to, like, if a 75-year-old person sits down at the poker table, I'm going to assume they're probably not the best player until they prove that they are.
Really?
So you start with that baseline, and then you kind of work from there.
Holy cow. I didn't even think about that aspect.
Yeah. So that's my favorite. I mean, poker is a combination of the statistics and math involved, and like game theory and all that sort of very like kind of defined. Those are like more defined parameters. But then there's like the more, I forget which one's right brain, which one's is right brain.
I have no idea.
I think the left is the creative.
Yeah.
That's what I am.
There's like a right brain aspect of all the math, and then there's this like big left brain aspect of like, who are these people?
Mhm.
Why are they here? And how does getting to know them affect the way they're going to play the game? And how is their mood changing throughout the course of a day? And how is that going to affect like little things in their decision making? And then what do they think of me? And how are they adjusting their game because they think I'm doing this? And then how do I want to readjust because I know that they're thinking this? So it's like it goes in these levels, right?
Crazy.
And
Every move is judged, I feel like.
That makes it so interesting though. Holy cow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The reason I was shaking my head, Sarah knows why, because I'm terrible at math. So I don't think this is or I just don't like it. It just,
This is why
I've turned it off, and I just don't do it.
This is why I want to get you to play poker, because I feel like by the time you realize the statistics that are involved, it will be too late.
Mm.
And
That's why Jeff's good at it, because he's very good at math and statistics.
I love it. Alex, what is lighting you up right now? What are you excited about?
Well, I love to play golf. That's one of my big hobbies. And McNeil and Strang finally said that golf courses can open like 10 days ago.
I went to the driving range the other day too.
Nice. So
it was packed there. Well, I try.
Yeah.
Ashley's father owns a golf course.
Oh, which one?
So I'm trying to get into it. It's called Osprey Ridge. It's
Osprey
like,
Ridge.
Yeah. Yeah, like Lunenburg County, but in Bridgewater.
I've only played it once, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I want to go back there.
Come on down.
We played it and shot. What did we shoot, Ash?
We got the highest score. We were in a tournament and we got the worst score. I don't remember. It was a lot.
It was in the hundreds.
We thought it was good. And my dad said, but not for best ball. That's really, really bad.
They were horrified.
Really?
But you're right. It's nice that that's an option now for people. And I know when I was at the golf course on Saturday, it was packed, which was so nice. People are so happy.
So I have a membership at Ashburn in Halifax this year. And then I'm really hoping Cabot opens soon, because like that's the course that I can actually see from my window.
Oh, so that one isn't open yet?
Not open. And that's where like I'm renting this house out to people, and it's mostly people who are playing Cabot.
Right. So why haven't they opened, I wonder?
Because they rely a lot on tourism from states and also from other parts of Canada. And with our provincial borders being kind of closed and the national border being definitely closed. And also, I think they can't open with the current restrictions, they can't open their hotel or their restaurants yet. So I think they're waiting until like a lot of those other restrictions change. But I mean, it's kind of a tease because like we've had such beautiful weather and the courses are in great shape. I've driven by them and they're just like waiting to be played with it. The course isn't open. But today I drove to Chetty Camp, which is like 45 minutes, and I played a course there.
All right. So golf is number one.
That's a passion. I'm like learning domestic skills that I didn't have. Like I'm learning how to cook a little bit. I was never a very good cook.
What have you been cooking?
Some gardening. Like I'm just,
wow.
I'm trying to branch off domestically a little bit here.
What's on the menu so far? We love food.
I've been making, I've been grilling chicken wings and drumsticks, and I've been doing some salmon and asparagus and some steak, and nothing crazy. A couple stir fries, but
getting your feet wet, getting into it.
Getting my feet wet. I mean, I definitely, and that's another thing about being in Vegas is that I can eat food at the poker table. It's pretty much comped. It's pretty much free, and it's good, healthy food. So I would eat a lot of my meals at the poker table. I usually just do breakfast at home, and then if I was playing poker that day, I would do the rest of my meals at the table.
That's awesome.
Crazy. Yeah. We never knew these things.
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking it wouldn't be healthy food at the poker table as well for some reason.
Aria is such a nice casino, and you can order from. There's a little salad bar there, and then there's also a Thai restaurant, and then there's.
Oh, I've eaten at that Thai restaurant.
Yeah, lemongrass. It's really good.
Yeah.
The perks. Free dinner.
Yeah.
That's great. We love that.
Yeah, so bad.
Alex, a couple of questions. Where can people find you and follow you?
I'm rum, like the drink rum, the letter M, and chess. Rum and chess on Instagram and Twitter.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Yeah, that was, I made that, so rum was, I guess, the first drink that I really liked when I started drinking. And so when I was 18 and I made that, my first online poker handle, it was rum and chess, like a rum and coke.
And you've never looked back.
I've never looked back. I've never remember that one.
One question I wanted to ask, and I totally forgot. What is your craziest like poker story, traveling world? Tell us.
Definitely. Okay. I'll quickly tell you two.
Perfect.
Please.
The first one is just the story of how I ended up dropping out of college and becoming a full-time poker player. So I'd already taken that year off after year two, but then the plan was to go back to school and graduate. So I went back for one more year. I did my third year. And then that summer, I was on a cruise with a friend of mine, and there was a blackjack table on the cruise. And I started playing blackjack, and I was shooting the shit with this guy next to me. And, we were having a good time, kind of, enjoying the conversation, enjoying playing blackjack, enjoying being on a cruise. And then he asked me, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm still in school, but I also have been playing poker and making money doing that. And he said, well, how would you like to be a day trader? And I said, well, that sounds pretty cool. And then I got his information, and he ended up setting up this internship for me in New York that summer. So it was the summer after my third year. And the idea was I was going to go back to school. I was going to finish my fourth year, and then I would have this job lined up doing day trading in New York. And there were 3 rules. One was I had to finish school. 2 was I had to get better grades because my grades hadn't been great. And 3 was I had to quit poker if I wanted to get this job.
Spoiler.
So I didn't really want to quit poker, but I sort of like went along with it. And then the week before school was about to start, my friend and I hadn't been to Europe since I was 6 years old. Or no, I actually went once in high school, but hadn't been to Europe much. And my friend and I last minute decided to do this spontaneous trip to Europe. And we flew into, where did we fly in? Rome. We did a few days in Italy. We flew to Paris. We were having so much fun. We booked a flight for another friend of ours, this guy Ryan, and we didn't tell him about it. We just sent him an email with his itinerary. We paid for the flight. All we just said was travel light. and his flight was leaving in like 18 hours or something. And like, we didn't give him any more information.
Amazing.
I think he emailed us back and like, we're like, yeah, come meet us. So he met us for the last 4 days of the trip. So it was me and two of my best friends. The last night we're in Amsterdam at this point, and we got really drunk that last night. And I had a flight at 9 a.m. back to Boston where I was in university. And I slept through my flight, and I woke up and I looked at the phone. I'm like, shit, like, what am I going to do? Like, you know, I was kind of having a little freak out, and, you know, I woke them up. I'm like, what am I going to do, guys? I had maybe some money, but I don't know. I wasn't prepared to like just book another flight like last minute. Right. And they're like, well, I don't know what you're going to do, but we've been talking about it, or we talked about it last night, and we're going to stay in Amsterdam for another 3 months, or maybe they didn't say 3 months, but they said, we're just going to stick around Amsterdam for a while. And so I just had this like internal conflict, and I eventually just agreed to stay with them. And then we stayed there for 3 months, and that ended up being like a really good period of poker for me, where I made quite a bit of money, and I never went back to school. So that's sort of like the trip where I would say I definitely became a professional poker player, if I wasn't already. Like that sealed the deal.
You were dialed in.
I was, yeah. And I gave up on school. I gave up on this day trading job, and like I kind of went all in on poker, so to speak. Story number 2. Did this happen later? This might have actually happened. Okay, I think it was the next summer. I
don't know how you top this one. I'm very excited.
I was very, this one's available also on my Twitter. It's my pinned tweet. So there's like, anyone wants to read the story. I think I was 22 years old. I was very stupid with money at this point. And I had about $17,000 to my name, and I was in Vegas to play poker for a month during the World Series of Poker, where there's all these tournaments and cash games. And I'd rented a big house with a bunch of guys. And one of the guys there, I like to gamble on like everything too. So I like to gamble on things that I probably shouldn't be gambling on. And I don't always make the best decisions. And one of the guys there, we had just started gambling on like all these little things, and he was running up this tab on, like I was owing him money. And at the beginning of the summer, he's like, look, he basically told me, he's like, I'm good at games. Like, you're not that good. So like, we're going to run up this tab. And like, at the end of the summer, if you owe me a bunch of money, we can settle for a little bit less. Like, I'm not going to make you pay the full thing if it gets really big. Just try and get me to keep betting with him. And of course, I just like way too much ego, way too much pride. I didn't want to quit. And I just kept betting with him. And so we started playing beer pong. And, you know, like beer pong, it was like $100 a game, maybe $200 a game, which to most people is a lot of money to bet on beer pong. But like to a gambler, it's not that crazy. But then one night it just escalated. So like we would do like $200 games, and maybe I'd lose a couple. So now I'm down 400. So I'm like, okay, let's play 400 this game. Lose that one. So now I'm down 800. Let's play 800 this game. And I just kept doubling it basically. Eventually he was giving me odds. So like, instead of me putting up 1,000 to win 1,000, I was putting up 1,000 to win 3,000, because he was just this much better than me. And it was me and a friend against him and another friend, you know, 2-on-2.
How drunk were you? Were you actually?
I was quite drunk. So we get to a situation where currently at this point, I owed him $32,000.
Cool. God. Casual
32 grand. And I bet 8,000 in this one game to win 24,000. So if I won the game, the tab was going to be down to 8,000, which is like kind of manageable. But if I lose, then the tab's at 40,000, which is definitely not manageable. So we play the game, and we're playing really well. Me and my partner, we're locked in, and we make all the cups, and then we still have 3 cups left for them to make. But you know, you get rebuttal. So they get a chance to make. Have you guys played beer pong?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I think, actually, to be honest, I think we would have taken all your money.
Everyone plays by different rules, though, right? So, like, our rule was rebuttal, overtime, blah, blah, blah. So then the guy who I wasn't making the bets against, like the guy's partner, he shoots and misses. So now this guy needs to send it into overtime, he needs to make 3 cups in a row, which is pretty friggin' unheard of. Like 3 in a row, like you can't miss any. Boom, boom, boom. Makes them all, sends it into overtime. they win in overtime. And I was just a mess.
And now you owe 40 grand.
Now I owed 40 grand, which we ended up settling for less, like the guy had said at the beginning of the summer. But I ended up paying him over like the next couple of years.
That is so great.
I feel like you can't be left unsupervised in a house.
Probably true. I mean, I've gotten a little, but we call them, degenerates, like in our community, like degens. Like I was a huge degen at the time. I just wanted to bet on everything. And I still like to bet on things, but I'm way more controlled about it now. It's not like
sports. Do you like to bet on sports?
Yeah, but like I don't do it super often.
But how do you feel about a buddy's house or someone's house and you guys were watching a game? Would you guys make a bet on who was going to win, just like casually between you and a friend?
Probably if it was like another poker. Yeah, but we might bet like $100.
I feel like you're going to say yes. Yeah.
How do you feel about flip cup games?
I've never bet on, I don't think I've ever bet on flip cup.
You should start. When you come back, Ashley and I will play you.
We'll have a full day.
So are you guys into drinking games?
Well, we're into most games.
Most games. There you go. Yeah,
We're okay. So? We're okay.
I'm really good at shooting. Like I'm good at washer toss, games like that. Sarah
Me too.
No, you're not.
So bad.
She's terrible.
I played 2 games on the weekend. I got 1 in.
Oh boy.
So if anyone's ever looking for a washer toss partner, please give me a call. Always bet against me. Always.
Yeah.
Alex, before we wrap, it is time for our favorite part of the show.
Okay, what are we doing?
It's a game called Westiegrams. Made up.
There's no money involved.
No money. All you do is pick a number between 1 and 87, and we're going to read you a question. We're each going to go around and answer a question.
Okay.
Super easy. You get to go first.
32.
32. All right. Who's your favorite rapper?
I'm going to go Tupac.
Ooh.
I don't like the current stuff as much. I mean, I think Jay-Z is great. I liked Eminem a lot when I was younger. But yeah, I'm pretty much more of a classic guy. I like Tupac. I like that.
All right. We love that.
Do you guys answer the same question?
No, we're going to pick a different question. We'll probably get you to answer most of the questions because it's just more fun. Ash, what you thinking tonight?
I'm going to do 25.
25. I don't know where this question came from.
If it's a bad one, give me a new one.
Yeah, I always select the questions if no one's caught on to that, any of our listeners. I just pick what I want to hear.
Where's the question sheet coming from?
A spreadsheet. An Excel spreadsheet.
When we're in person, we actually have cards and you draw and we're a little more by the book.
Right.
But you should know this for when we will inevitably play games in the future, Alex, is we cannot be trusted.
Got it.
So just keep that in your mind. Okay, Ash, which time of the year would you prefer to attend a friend's wedding?
I'm going to say, though the summer is fun, sometimes I don't want a lot of weddings in the summer. Maybe September, October, or June.
Okay.
September's nice.
Yeah, because it's still warm.
Yeah.
But for you, Sarah, if you want to get married anytime, I'll come to your wedding.
I'll be in the dead of winter, so sorry, girl.
That's great.
We'll be on a ski hill.
Winter's great.
Winter's nice.
Perfect.
I mean, I was supposed to go to 2 weddings this summer. They're both canceled. So I wish I was going to both of them because I love them. So anyway.
Alex, you're a September wedding fan as well? Is that weird? All right.
I think September is just the nicest month in Nova Scotia by far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. All right, I'm gonna go with. I'm just like reading the question.
She's sourcing her own,
and I don't want to. I'm gonna go 44. Ooh, what is the song that makes you drop it low? I pick a new one every time.
What is it today?
Let's see. I've been really into Ashley's new theme song, actually. Bossy by Kelis.
Kellis.
I'm like, what is her name?
The milkshake. You must know who she is, Alex. The milkshake song.
Yeah, yeah.
Really throwing it back to that one. We dedicated it to Ash for her birthday last week, and it's just been on nonstop repeat on my phone.
I actually really took it in the other day and listened to the words, and it made me laugh.
I love that. Alex, what about you?
Song that makes me want to
Drop it low.
Dance.
I don't know. I don't really know.
Some Tupac.
Come on, anything like Tupac.
I'm not a huge dancer. Like just whatever's on. Like by the time I'm at the club and I'm dancing, like I'm probably usually pretty drunk anyway, and I'm not paying that much attention to music.
What about if you're home by yourself and no one's watching?
I don't know. I'm not a big dancer.
Okay.
No.
We'll have to come up with a dance game. I think
We just think you're lying.
Yes.
Ash, I think pretty much we're just going to be working on ways we can get money from you, Alex.
What's the one you like follow the dance moves on?
Dance Revolution game? Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
I'm not good at any of those games like Guitar Hero or Band Hero or any of those games that require good coordination.
Ash, are you good at those?
I was really good at Guitar Hero
Perfect.
because I used to play the piano, and I just feel like I had that hand-eye coordination.
So maybe I would be all right at Guitar Hero if I gave it a try. Is it?
If there was money involved, you'd really step it up.
We're really going to be stepping it up the next few. We're working on a list now of basically ways we can try to get money out of you. Now that we know you've racked up the 40 grand one summer, we'll do our best to.
That's a thing of the past. That's not me anymore. We can bet $5 on things.
Oh yeah, I could be 50 cents and I'd be happy. I would just be happy to win anything from anyone.
You know, Alex, I'm going to say never.
All right.
We're working on the Rival and Queen business plan, Ashley. I think this is a viable option. We'll just hustle out.
Just hustle me till the tab gets so big that I have to settle.
I love that.
This has been so awesome, Alex. We're so happy to see you and talk to you and learn so much about poker that Sarah and I knew nothing about.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll have to get together when this all blows over, play some drinking games, some card games.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Drinking card games.
We love both of those things.
And we hope the golf course opens for you soon so you can enjoy that.
Beautiful here.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.